As a loving mother, I spent my whole life trying to help my son and his wife. I threw them birthday parties, paid their bills, and did everything I could to make sure they lived a happy and carefree life. And what did I get in return? They forgot to even wish me a happy birthday. I didn't ask for gifts, I just wanted to hear, "Happy birthday, Mom. We love you." At first it made me very upset, but then I realized that they not only forgot, but they disrespected me. They were making fun of me, so I decided that I would not let it go. Before we go deeper into this story, please subscribe to this channel. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I wish you never have to go through what I went through. I sat at my dining table, the ticking of the clock slicing through the silence like a blade. The birthday cake sat untouched, its candles unlit, the frosting sagging under the weight of my waiting. 58 years, and here I was staring at a phone that refused to ring. My fingers grazed the stem of my wine glass, the red liquid swirling like a storm I couldn't unleash. Michael and Olivia weren't coming. They hadn't even called. The clock struck 5. My patience snapped. I shoved the glass too hard, and it tipped, red wine spilling across the white tablecloth. It spread slowly, a dark bloom seeping into the fabric, like the way their ingratitude had bled me dry. I didn't bother to blot it. Let it stain. Let it mark this moment. I grabbed my phone, my knuckles whitening as I dialed Michael's number. Voicemail. His voice, cheerful and distant, mocked me. I hung up, my breath sharp. A notification blinked. Olivia's name. My heart leapt, then sank. Her text was a single line. "Busy today, maybe call you later." Busy? Too busy for the woman who paid their mortgage? I set the phone down, deliberate, like placing a grenade. The doorbell chimed and I flinched. Not them, it wouldn't be. I smoothed my blouse, forcing a smile as I opened the door to Susan, my neighbor, holding a small gift wrapped in tissue paper that crinkled like a balsa wood skirt. "Happy birthday, Nancy," she beamed, her eyes crinkling. "Thought I'd pop by with a little something." "Thanks, Susan," I said, my voice steady despite the ache. We chatted in the doorway, her warmth a fleeting balm. "Saw Michael's new SUV yesterday," she said, oblivious to the knife she twisted. "Fancy. You must be proud." "Proud? Of a son who couldn't spare a call?" I nodded, my smile tight. "He's doing well," I lied. She left, and the house swallowed me again. I stood by the table, the wine stain glaring like an accusation. My mind flicked to last month, the check I'd written for their mortgage. Another payment to keep their perfect life afloat. My savings dwindled while their garage gleamed. Olivia's influence, no doubt. She had Michael wrapped around her finger, but I knew her game. I didn't call them back. Not tonight. Not ever, if I could help it. The cake sat there, a mockery of celebration, but my eyes locked on the spilled wine. A glint of defiance sparked inside me, sharp and unfamiliar. Let them think they could forget me. They'd learn what absence really felt like. Morning sunlight sliced through the faded floral curtains, catching the dust motes in a lazy dance. I stood at the sink, scrubbing the wine-stained tablecloth from last night, my hands moving with a rhythm that kept my anger at bay. The stain wouldn't budge, a stubborn reminder of yesterday's betrayal. As I reached for more soap, my elbow caught the framed photo on the counter. Michael, age 10, grinning with a gap-toothed smile. It hit the floor, the glass cracking like my composure. I froze, the memory rushing in. Years ago, I'd sold my car to cover his college tuition. The bus stop became my second home, the cold biting my fingers as I waited for late-night rides after extra shifts. Michael never knew. He drove to campus in a second-hand sedan I'd scrounged for, his life uninterrupted. Then there was his wedding, my dream trip to Europe traded for their lavish day. I'd smiled through it, ignoring the pang as I wrote the check. I picked up the frame, my fingers tracing the cracked glass. Another memory surfaced. Meeting Olivia for the first time. Her smile was polished, her designer scarf a stark contrast to my modest living room. "Oh, Nancy, your place is so quaint," she'd said, her tone dripping with pity. "You don't need much, do you?" Michael had laughed, oblivious, already under her spell. Months later, she'd nudged him to ask me for money, a down payment for their house. I'd given it, thinking it would secure their future. My future shrank in return. Back in the present, I set the frame upright and turned to the stack of papers on the coffee table. An old bank statement caught my eye, buried under junk mail. I flipped through it, my pulse quickening as I tallied the mortgage payments I'd made for them. Over $100,000 wired from my account to theirs year after year. My hand shook as I tore the statement in half, then stopped, taping it back together with trembling fingers. Evidence. Proof of what I'd given and what they'd taken. I sank onto the couch, the weight of it all pressing down. I'd worked extra hours, skipped vacations, poured everything into Michael's dreams. And for what? A text. A dismissal. My eyes flicked to my laptop, An unopened email from Olivia glowing on the screen. Subject: need to talk. My stomach twisted. What did she want now? Another favor? Another piece of me? I didn't open it. Not yet. The cracked photo frame stared at me, Michael's boyish grin a ghost of the man who'd forgotten me. Let her wait. Let them both wait. The kitchen smelled of coffee, the morning light glinting off my mug as I sat at the counter, my laptop open. My bank account stared back, the mortgage payment button glowing like a dare. I hovered the cursor over it, my heart steady. Then I closed the tab. No payment today. A smirk tugged at my lips, the first real spark of power I'd felt in years. Let them sweat. I leaned back, the memory of last month's dinner creeping in. Olivia had perched at their dining table. Her new promotion the centerpiece of her monologue. It's cutthroat, but I thrive on it, she'd said, her wine glass catching the chandelier's glow. My teaching career? Cute, she'd called it, her smile sharp enough to cut. Michael had nodded along, spineless. I'd bitten my tongue, but the slight burned. Now I opened a notebook and scribbled their weaknesses. Michael's laziness at work, coasting on charm. Olivia's obsession with status, her need to flaunt. I pulled up their mortgage terms online, my years as a teacher sharpening my focus. The fine print was clear. They couldn't afford the house without me. Their perfect life balanced on my goodwill, and I was done giving. My phone buzzed, Michael's name flashing. I let it ring twice, savoring his panic before answering. Mom, the bank's calling. What's going on? His voice was high, frayed. I tilted my head, my tone honey sweet. Oh honey, I must have forgotten. I'll check. He stammered, but I cut him off. Talk soon. I hung up, my pulse thrumming. They'd feel this. I stood rummaging through my purse for a pen, when a folded note slipped out. Michael's handwriting from years ago. Thanks, Mom, for everything. A thank you for the tuition, the wedding, the endless support. My chest tightened, but I didn't hesitate. I lit a match over the sink, watching the paper curl and blacken. The ashes scattered, gray flecks swirling down the drain. No more guilt. No more doormat. I turned back to my notebook, the list of their flaws staring up at me. Greed, I'd circled, the word bold and final. They'd learn what busy really felt like. I closed the notebook, my mind already racing ahead, plotting the next move. The lamp in my home office cast a narrow cone of light, leaving the corners of the room in shadow. Papers sprawled across my desk, bank statements, printed emails, a leather-bound journal that had been my husband's. I sipped coffee, its bitterness grounding me as I scrolled through Olivia's Instagram. Her latest post glowed. A designer watch on her wrist, captioned, "Work hard, win big." I snorted. Work hard. More like scheme hard. I flipped open the journal, my pen scratching as I noted Michael's habits. Skipping work calls, coasting on charm. Olivia's were worse. Her posts screamed status. Every photo a calculated flex. I dug deeper, pulling up an email she'd accidentally sent me months ago. A forwarded expense report with vague entries. Meals, travel, consulting fees. Sloppy. Her ego made her careless. My mind drifted to a barbecue 2 summers ago. The backyard had smelled of charcoal and beer, Michael laughing too loud to impress Olivia's friends. A work call buzzed his phone. He silenced it, waving it off. Olivia, in a sundress that cost more than my monthly rent, had smirked at my floral blouse. So retro, Nancy, she'd said, her friends tittering. I'd smiled, swallowing the bar, but I saw them. Michael's laziness, Olivia's vanity, clear as day. Back in the present, I highlighted the expense report's shadiest line. My pen digging into the paper. Olivia's watch wasn't just a trophy. It was a clue. If she was padding expenses, her big win was a house of cards. I added it to the journal, each word deliberate, the leather cover cool under my fingers. This wasn't just a record, it was a weapon. My phone rang, Linda's name flashing. Nancy, you okay after your birthday? She asked, her voice warm with concern. I leaned back, deflecting. Oh, I'm fine. Just keeping busy. You went to that charity gala, didn't you? See Olivia there. Linda chuckled. Peacocking as usual. New watch, new ego. Bragging about some big deal at work. I nodded, my eyes sharp. Sounds like her. Linda rambled, but I barely heard. Olivia's gala performance confirmed it. Her status was her weakness, her need to be seen, her blind spot. I thanked Linda, hung up, and turned back to my journal. One line stood out, circled in ink. Olivia's ego is her noose. I closed the laptop, a smile tugging at my lips. The shadows seemed to lean closer, as if they knew what I was planning. Sunlight poured through the kitchen window, glinting off the calendar on the counter. A red X marked yesterday's date, the second mortgage payment I'd let lapse. My phone pinged with a bank alert, the words overdue in bold. I deleted it without blinking, my fingers steady as I set the kettle to boil. The whistle of steam matched the tune I hummed, a quiet rebellion. The doorbell rattled, fists pounding before I could reach it. Michael stood there, his face flushed. "I ask you." "Mom, the bank's breathing down my neck," he snapped, storming inside. "They're talking foreclosure. Fix this." I tilted my head, feigning surprise. "Goodness, again? Let me get you some coffee." I moved to the pot, pouring with deliberate calm, my calm a knife to his panic. He paced, his shoes scuffing my linoleum. "This isn't a game, Mom. What's going on?" I handed him a mug, my voice soft. "I'm reorganizing my finances, dear. Things are tight. I might not have as much to spare." His eyes widened, the mug trembling in his hand. "Tight? You always." He stopped, fear replacing his anger. "Perfect." As he ranted, my mind flicked back to a promise he'd made at 16, sprawled on this same kitchen floor after I'd worked a double shift. "I'll take care of you, Mom," he'd said, his eyes earnest. I'd believed him. Now he couldn't even take care of himself. The memory stung, but it sharpened my resolve. He'd chosen Olivia's greed over me. Michael gulped his coffee, muttering about calling the bank. "I'll look into it," I said, my tone soothing, a lie wrapped in care. He left, his car peeling out, and I stood by the counter, the calendar's red X glaring like a victory. I pulled a bank statement from a drawer, my savings circled in black ink, more than enough to outlast their panic. I leaned against the counter, whispering to the empty room. "They'll beg before I'm done." The late afternoon heat pressed against my front porch, the geraniums in their pots drooping like tired soldiers. I watered them, the can's slow drip steadying my pulse when tires screeched. Olivia's car swerved into my driveway, her heels clicking like a countdown as she stormed up the steps. "You're ruining us, Nancy," she spat, her purse clutched like a shield. "What's your game?" I set the can down, brushing dirt from my hands. "Olivia, you look flushed." "Eat it there." I gestured to the porch swing, its creak cutting the silence. She ignored me, her voice sharp. "2 missed payments? The bank's ready to take the house." I adjusted my glasses, my gaze steady. "Oh, I'm just an old woman sorting her budget. Michael didn't tell you? He's been so stressed." Her eyes narrowed, doubt flickering. "Stressed? What's he hiding?" I shrugged, my tone light. "You'd know better than me." "He hasn't been himself, has he?" The seed was planted, her anger shifted, Michael now the target. She paced, her heels grinding grit into the porch boards, and I watched, calm as the wilting geraniums. My mind slipped to a holiday dinner years ago, the table heavy with food and tension. Olivia had cut Michael off mid-sentence, laughing to her guests. "He's all talk, isn't he?" He'd flushed, silent while I'd gripped my fork unnoticed. Their cracks were there even then, waiting for someone to pry them open. Someone like me. Olivia stopped pacing, her voice low. "If we lose the house, you'll regret this." I smiled, offering the tea again. "Ask Michael, he knows what's what." She spun, storming to her car, the engine roaring as she sped off. I watched the dust settle, then plucked a geranium petal, its soft red crushing between my fingers. It fell to the porch, a speck of ruin. "They'll tear each other apart," I thought, turning back to the house. Before I lift a finger, the flicker of a single candle lit my home office, its wax dripping like slow tears onto the cluttered desk. Papers surrounded me. Printouts of Olivia's emails, my journal open to a page of her flaws. I leaned over my laptop, the screen's glow harsh against the dark. My fingers danced across the keys, crafting an anonymous email to Olivia's boss. Each word was a dart, precise and poisoned, detailing her padded expense reports, the consulting fees and lavish dinners I'd found in that careless forward months ago. Burner email untraceable. I hovered over send, my breath steady, then clicked. A faint smile curled my lips. My mind slipped to 6 months back, a coffee shop humming with chatter. I'd sat in a corner unnoticed, as Olivia's voice carried from a nearby table. "Creative accounting," she'd bragged to a colleague, her laugh sharp as glass. "You just have to know how to play the game." I'd stirred my tea, silent, filing it away. That arrogance was her undoing, and now I'd turned her own words against her. I cleared my browser history, double-checked the VPN, and shut the laptop with a soft click. The candle's flame wavered as I flipped through my journal, rereading Olivia's weaknesses. Ego, greed, the need to be seen. I added a new line, my pen firm. Her crown's about to slip. The leather cover, a gift from my late husband, felt like an anchor to the woman I used to be, strong, not broken. My phone buzzed, Linda's name lighting up. "Nancy, you holding up?" she asked, her voice warm. I leaned back, casual. "Oh, I'm fine. Any news from that gala crowd?" She didn't hesitate. "Olivia's in trouble. Called into a meeting sounds serious. Everyone's whispering. I pressed my lips together, feigning worry. That's awful. She's always been so ambitious. Linda prattled on, but I had what I needed. The email had landed. I set the phone down, my eyes on the candle. Its flame guttered, casting long shadows. I blew it out, the room plunging into black. Olivia was about to learn what exposure felt like, and I'd be nowhere in sight. The cafe buzzed with clinking dishes and murmured voices, a midday hum that cloaked my purpose. I sat by the window, stirring iced tea, the glass sweating beads that pooled on the table. Across the room, a couple whispered about a marketing scandal at Olivia's firm. My lips twitched. My email had struck true, and the ripples were spreading. Linda slid into the booth, her purse thumping onto the seat. Sorry I'm late, traffic's a nightmare, she said, fanning herself. I smiled, nudging her menu. No rush. What's the talk around town? She leaned in, eyes bright with gossip. Olivia suspended, Nancy. Pending an audit. And Michael? Saw him at the club, moping like a kicked dog. I sipped my tea, the cold biting my tongue. Poor things. Stress can break anyone. My mind drifted to last year. A dinner at Michael and Olivia's house. The air had been thick with her perfume and his mistakes. You forgot the client brief? Olivia had snapped, her voice slicing through the chatter. Michael shrank, his fork scraping the plate, while I sat silent, watching their cracks widen. I'd been invisible then, but now I was the one prying them apart. Linda's voice pulled me back. It's a mess over there. Olivia's blaming everyone but herself. I nodded, my napkin tucked neatly under my plate, a small act of control in the cafe's chaos. I paid the bill, leaving a generous tip, my money, my choice. As we stepped outside, I froze. Across the street, Olivia stood, phone pressed to her ear, her face pale, gestures sharp. She was arguing, unraveling. Linda didn't notice, but I did. I adjusted my purse, my thoughts racing. One push and they were crumbling. The tea's damp ring lingered on the table behind me, a faint mark of my presence as I turned toward home. Michael's house gleamed under the evening sky, all glass and sharp angles, a monument to debt. I stepped inside, a homemade pie in my hands, its golden crust a lie of warmth. Unopened bills littered the counter, and the air felt stale, heavy with absence. Olivia was out. Michael greeted me, his eyes sunken. Thanks for coming, Mom, he mumbled, gesturing vaguely. I set the pie down, noticing a work report on his laptop, carelessly left open. Rough day? I asked, my voice soft as I scanned the room. He sighed, slumping into a chair. Everything's falling apart. The mortgage, Olivia's job. I can't lose mine too. I nodded, maternal concern masking my intent. Let me help. I'll proofread that report for you. He brightened, distracted, and wandered to the kitchen for coffee. I sat at the laptop, my fingers quick. A few tweaks, wrong figures, a misplaced decimal. Nothing glaring but enough to make him look sloppy. I emailed it to his boss from his account, my pulse steady. My mind flicked to his first job, fresh out of college. He'd botched a project, nearly fired, until I'd stayed up all night fixing his numbers, my eyes burning. You're my rock, Mom, he'd said, grateful. Now that gratitude was dust. I used his trust against him and it felt right. He returned, coffee in hand, oblivious. You're a lifesaver, he said, his voice cracking. I patted his arm. You'll figure it out, dear. You always do. The words were warm but my smile was tight, a mask. We talked, his fears spilling out. Olivia's anger, the bank's threats. I listened, nudging his doubts, letting him unravel. I left soon after, the pie untouched, its crust a silent rebuke. In my car I checked my phone. A confirmation email from Michael's boss, the report received. I leaned back, the leather seat cool against my neck. He was digging his own grave now, and I was handing him the shovel. The park bench was cool beneath me, the June sun filtering through oak leaves as I unfolded the newspaper. The headline blared. Marketing exec resigns amid ethics probe. Olivia's name leapt from the page, her polished headshot now a badge of shame. I folded the paper, my fingers creasing the edge, a faint smile tugging at my lips. Her empire was dust, and I'd barely stirred the wind. Children laughed nearby, their voices mingling with a neighbor's gossip drifting from the next bench. Michael got demoted, she said, her tone thick with pity. Botched some big report. And their house? Foreclosure notice went up yesterday. I tilted my head, feigning interest. Life catches up, doesn't it? My voice was smooth, untroubled. The neighbor nodded, oblivious to the architect behind the ruin. My mind slipped to 3 years ago, a summer evening at their house. Michael and Olivia had sprawled on their patio, wine glasses glinting, laughing off my suggestion to save for a rainy day. We're fine, Mom, Michael had said, his smirk sharp. Olivia raised her glass. We live for today. Their arrogance had been a beacon, guiding my hand now. I stood strolling toward their street, the newspaper tucked under my arm. Moving trucks clogged their driveway, movers hauling out sleek furniture, tables I'd indirectly paid for. Michael's SUV was gone, replaced by a dented rental car. Its paint chipped like their pride. I paused, watching a lampshade topple into a box. Its silk crumpled. Their perfect life packed away. Back at the bench, I checked my phone, an email notification glowing. A lease agreement for a flower shop, my name on the dotted line. I leaned back, the park's chatter fading. Their fall was my foundation, and I was just beginning to build. The storefront smelled of fresh paint, its empty shelves waiting for life. I stood at a rickety table, the lease agreement before me, my pen hovering. My signature flowed, bold and unbroken, claiming this space as mine. I walked the floor, envisioning roses spilling from vases, lilies catching the morning light. No more sacrifices, no more checks for their debts. This was for me. The bell jingled and Linda bustled in, 2 coffees in hand. Nancy, this place is perfect, she said, her grin wide. I took a cup, the warmth steadying my hands. It's a start. We sat and she leaned forward. You're glowing. Never thought I'd see you like this. I smiled, my voice firm. It's mine, Linda. That's what matters. No more bailing out Michael or Olivia. They're on their own. My mind drifted to my teaching days, a classroom alive with chatter. I'd bring daisies from my garden, their petals bright against the chalkboard. A small joy I'd shared with my students. When Michael's needs grew, I'd let that passion fade, my garden neglected for his dreams. Now I was replanting my roots deeper this time. The door opened again, a supplier stepping in, his clipboard thick with order forms. I straightened, negotiating prices with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I need quality, but I'm not overpaying, I said, my tone sharp but fair. He nodded, impressed, and we shook hands. After he left, I hung a coming soon sign in the window, its bright letters swaying in the breeze. My future written in bold. My phone buzzed, Michael's name flashing. We need to talk. Please. I stared, then deleted it, my thumb decisive. My time's for me now, I thought, turning back to the shelves, the scent of possibility in the air. The flower shop hummed with life, vases of fresh blooms lining the shelves, their colors soft in the late afternoon light. I trimmed a bouquet, roses and ferns weaving together, my shears steady. The bell above the door chimed, and I looked up. Michael and Olivia stood there, disheveled, his shirt wrinkled, her makeup smudged. I set the shears down, my spine rigid. Mom, Michael started, his voice raw. We lost the house. My job's gone. We're sorry, help us please. Olivia's eyes burned, her words sharp. You did this to us, Nancy. You betrayed us. I crossed my arms, unmoved. You did this to yourselves, I said, my voice cold, each word a stone. I gave everything and you threw it away. I'm done. Their faces crumpled, but my mind flicked to the day after my birthday, standing over that wine-stained tablecloth, vowing to take back my life. That promise held me now, an anchor against their pleas. Michael stepped closer, his hands shaking. We'll change, I swear. I shook my head, my gaze steady. Olivia's lip curled. You're heartless. I almost laughed. Heartless? No. I just learned to guard it. I picked up 2 white lilies from the counter, their petals delicate but final, like funeral blooms. I handed one to each, my fingers brushing the stems. Take these, I said. And go. Michael clutched his, tears welling. Olivia threw hers to the floor, storming out. He followed, head bowed. I locked the door behind them, the click loud in the quiet shop. I returned to my bouquet, the roses scent wrapping around me. My hands moved again, weaving stems with care. Justice smells like roses, I thought, humming softly. The shop's warmth, a promise of all I'd built. If you like this story, please help me reach 1,000 subscribers by tomorrow by subscribing to this channel. We also recommend listening to our previous story, it's even more shocking. Just click on the box on the left to play it. Thank you for watching.